If your squat looks like this, then I have 3 exercises to totally fix it. The resting squat should be a comfortable position for all of us humans. However, because of our sitting culture, most of us have lost the requisite ankle dorsiflexion angle to achieve this, as well as the hip mobility. So in this video, we are looking at those 2 culprits, ankle and hip mobility, and how to fix them. The most common reason people can't low squat is they can't create enough of an angle or dorsiflexion in the ankle joint. So to get down into my low squat, my knee has to travel forward and my shin has to close the distance towards the top of my foot. So the angle goes from being very vertical to leaning over. One way we can test this mobility in our ankle is to find a wall or something flat like this box and choose a distance starting off fairly close to it with the heel remaining flat on the ground, leaning forward until we can touch the knee. If you can touch the knee, you have that range. Go back slightly, half an inch, go forward again. Don't let the heel come up. You have that range. Keep doing this until you find a distance where I can no longer close the distance of my knee to the wall. You can mark this with a leaf or whatever you have, a bit of chalk or whatever. Measure that distance and remember it. Next, what we're going to do is an exercise to improve this ankle dorsiflexion mobility. So using my box here, what I can do is choose a lower height to start with and place my foot up. I'm going to keep my ankle on the box once again, and I'm going to close the distance between my hamstring and my calf muscle, lean forward, add some weight now to the top of my knee, and I can feel this loading through the front of my ankle joint. When you start, it might be back here because you're new to it and it might feel a little uncomfortable. That's okay. We're really trying to add to that stretch. Add some weight onto it with your hands and chest. And you're going to want to hang out here for at least a minute. And then what we can start to do is to add some contractions at the end. So 5 seconds, you can try to pull your toes up towards your knee, keeping the heel flat on the box. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax and go a little deeper. Hang out there for another 5. And then what we're going to do is press the toes down into the box for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And you can repeat this cycle for up to 2 minutes. And then what you want to do is you want to come back to your spot and you're going to retest and see if you can beat that marker where you were before. And you probably will because you've got a little bit more range in that ankle. Next up, we have the hips. The hips don't lie, as Shakira says. So what we want to do is get down into our 90-90 position. So you'll see I have one leg internally rotated and the other is externally rotated. My hands go behind me. The further behind, the easier these are. I'm trying to put my knees flat on the ground in this starting position. Now I'm going to keep my heels of my feet glued to the ground and my butt glued to the ground. And I'm just going to swivel my knees to the other side until they touch. And I'm going to go back. And what I'm thinking about is initiating the movement from my hips, from all of those supportive muscles all around my hip capsule and that hip joint. So that is where I'm initiating the movement. And I'm going to do this for 90 seconds just to loosen up my hips. I'll give you another angle here from the side. Now, as this feels more and more comfortable, I can walk the hands in, which makes it a little more challenging. Over time, we can actually take the hands away and just initiate the movement from the hips themselves. So this might not be accessible at first, but over time, this is what we're aiming to do, just to have that mobility and control within the hips. Some people, myself included, store a lot of tension around the hips and all the supporting tissue around the hips. So a great little tip here is to take a ball, a lacrosse ball like this, or a tennis ball, which is a bit softer, or even a golf ball. I like something firm, something hard. you put it on the ground on a hard surface and you find those little tender bits around the hip capsule. And this may look a bit creepy to your neighbors, but what I'm doing is just finding all that tissue that's tight, and I'm just rolling on it, little circles, and just really trying to loosen up those tight hips. It's a great feeling afterwards when you create a bit of space in there. So just do both sides. A minute each side is perfect. You can listen to some music, daydream, brainstorm, do your taxes, whatever, but loosen up those hips and you'll get some more movement. The third drill I'm giving you is actual squatting. Whoa, who would have thought? So the squat setup, what we're going to do is, some people have their feet too narrow. This makes it much more harder because of the angles involved. Too wide, and you're going full wushu, kung fu, Kill Bill. This isn't what we need either. That's way harder. So a good distance is around shoulder width. Everybody's anatomically different lever lengths, torso lengths, etc. Shoulder width is generally good. I like to point the toes out just a little bit. Now the rule here is to track the knees over the toes, and then I'm going to sit down between my feet and I'm keeping my torso up nice and straight. So from the side on, and then I can hang out down here and get comfortable in this position. When you're starting, your squat might look more like this. You might get to here, and that's all your ankles will allow. So you have to either get up on your toes or you have to round your back. So I'm going to give you a drill to play with this and to fix this and hang out more in that squat position. For this drill, you'll need a pole or something to hold onto. I've just got a strap here for the purposes of the demo. And you can also start with elevated heels. So you can grab a stick and put that under your heels, or 2 weight plates, or maybe you're reading some erotic novels, 2 of those, and put those under your heels to give you a bit of mechanical advantage and a bit of lift. Now what I'm going to do is use my pole for support and lean back into it and sit down into my low squat. And I want you to just hang out down here, tell your body it's okay hips, we belong down here. If we need to do a poo in the bush, we can do a poo in the bush and hold it for as long as it takes. So I want you down here for 2 minutes, ideally, just really playing around with it. If you're up here initially, you might need to elevate the heels a little more to create that space. But eventually what we want to do is take that stick away and become lighter and lighter on our strap or our pole. And eventually, voila, you are in your low squat, my friend. If you don't have a pole handy or a strap or anything, a dumbbell can come in just as handy. This is called a goblet squat, and it's the weight that's pulling you forward that replicates the pole and gives you a mechanical advantage. Once again, if you still need to elevate the heels with a dowel or some weight plates or some erotic novels, then do that and lighten this weight over time until eventually you don't need that weight, baby. Having a good low squat isn't just a key marker for health. It also helps reduce back pain, hip pain, but it also opens up a lot of other athletic avenues like locomotion. So work on your low squat, learn some new skills, and most importantly, have fun. If you don't subscribe to this channel, you can smell my dirty undies.